Hey, puppy trades. It's a very sad day. A very solemn occasion. Yeah, it's really devastating that the VIX, the volatility index, is up 38% in one day. And during that same trading day, the S&P 500 was down 2.06%. A 38% VIX spike in one day, paired with a 2% drop in equities. Very sad. Yeah, that really devastates a lot of professional investors. It's really devastating that this ETF that shorts the VIX front month futures and has a 5-star Morningstar rating was down a measly, what? A 38% VIX spike. S-Vol is shorting the VIX, and it was down 1.47%. with a 16% dividend yield. Yeah, you figured it out. Oh, professional investors are devastated. They're devastated. Oh yeah, they're really sad right now. Selling puts on the S&P 500. That means that they're selling puts that expire in 2 or 3 weeks and they're out of the money. Those puts got about 38 VIX points added to them. They got a lot more expensive. And it corresponded with a 0.67 drop. So the puts that this ETF sells got way more expensive by a factor of 38%. The VIX index that this ETF is shorting directly, the VIX that it's shorting went up 38%. The VIX futures premium, thus, went up by a proportional factor to the tune of 38%. And this ETF that's going to short that, collect all that VIX futures premium, and even has some hedges on the VIX with some calls, it fell 1.47%. So devastating. This ETF I've made a whole video about. How every single time in August that we had a VIX spike, the dividend rose. This pays a weekly dividend. And you'll see that the dividend grew. It grows, it gets bigger. Pays more moon eye. It pays more moon eye. We can see that. So this ETF, the options, the 0DTE options that it sells every day, they go up proportionally to the VIX going up 38%. But the underlying ETF that's profiting from all this only went down 2.21%. You figured it out. Yeah, the quants are devastated. Everyone's really, they don't know what they're going to do. They don't know what they're going to do. They think they need to find some super quant. Some super quant who figured out another set of ETFs, not directly correlated to the S&P 500, but CONY and Fiat basically paired together sell a short strangle on Coinbase. That means the volatility premiums went up substantially by however much the Coinbase options got more expensive with this VIX spike. Same thing with TSLP and CRSH. Even though even though these ETFs, TSLP, probably went down a little bit, CRSH probably went up a little bit, the net asset value definitely didn't change on the pair to a tune of 38%. But the option premiums that this ETF is going to be, these ETFs paired together are going to be collecting, they went up significantly. And for put W, XDTE, and SVOL, which I clicked out of order. By the way, another 4-star Morningstar rating for put W, 5-star Morningstar rating for SVOL. Fun fact. But these ETFs, they are directly profiting from premium that is getting much more expensive with the VIX going up by a factor of 38% in one day, and they're falling by a measly 1 to 2%. But the options they're selling are getting way more expensive. That means the dividend yield is going to be much higher, as I made a whole video about with XDTE. So it's a very solemn day. I have learned a lot about how money can and really commodities. There's this old quote that says, a trader knows the price of everything, but they know the value of nothing. And for a very long time, and I think a lot of people are like this, they really don't see, men buying flowers for a woman, right? Flowers are worth $5.50 to get in a bouquet at Safeway, right? That's how much they're worth. That's the price. But that's not actually the value. Because if you buy those flowers and they're $5.50, watch what happens when you give them to your girlfriend, or a woman you're dating, or your fiance, or your wife, on a random date, a random day. Watch how she values those flowers. You're going to very quickly realize they're not worth $5.50 to her, because you gave them to her as a surprise. She's going to act like those flowers that are going to wilt, probably, all this stuff, they're worth $5, but she's going to act like they're worth thousands of dollars. A trader knows the price, but they don't know the value. This weekend, I really started to learn the value. I'll give you another one, because I've seen this recent trend. Where men talk about alcohol on social media. And they're all saying the same thing. They're saying there's no return on investment to drinking alcohol, right? It's bad for your brain. It gives you cancer, blah, blah, blah. The social lubricant aspect, the winding down from a day of work, it's not worth the addiction. It's not worth the cancer. It's not worth the brain being damaged, and it's not worth, you doing something stupid, right? And so alcohol for men, right? They think of it as an investment, a return on investment. They literally will tweet about this. They'll talk about ROI, right? But I talked to a man, and he, wanted to drink with me. I was like, all right, we can drink together. That sounds fun. And he pulls out a big Gatorade bottle, full to the brim, of vodka. And he tells me the price. He says, this vodka is worth $10.99 from Trader Joe's. I was like, okay. Then why don't you drink some with me? I was like, okay. The trader in me, I'm thinking, okay, it's worth $10.99 from Trader Joe's. if I take a few shots, I'm probably not going to get cancer immediately. I'm probably not going to, I can handle myself. I'm not going to do something stupid. And, there might be a social aspect. Me drinking with this guy. This guy will have some, fun, get to know each other or whatever. So he offers me, some pulls, and I take some. And then he sits down with me and he starts telling me a story. He starts telling me about how he is a really serious alcoholic. A really serious alcoholic. And, he's 40. And he just got kicked out of his house. He's got a wife. He's got 2 kids. And now I'm starting to look at the alcohol like a lot differently. I'm like, whoa, oh, wait a minute. I don't like where this is going. I'm not seeing something that's worth $10.99 from Trader Joe's anymore. Just like how I now see flowers, when you give them to your fiance, you give them to your wife, you give them to your girlfriend randomly. The moment you do that, they go from being worth $5 to worth like $1,000. Just like how these ETFs, even though they only went down 1.47%, their premiums that they're going to be selling, right? Because the VIX went up 38%. The premiums that they're going to be selling got a lot more expensive. The ETF went down 1.47%. The price only went down 33 cents. But now the value of this ETF, because it is selling and shorting VIX futures premiums, it exploded beyond the price. These premiums are going to be huge. And we can see that with what happened last time with XDTE. And I know as a quant that this ETF put W, that is selling out of the money, 1 to 3 week rolling options on put W. I know that this ETF, the option premiums it sells, gets way more expensive, and it went down less than 1%. But the options that it went and sold, they're going up by a factor of 38 VIX points, and they're far dated puts. That's premium heaven. And to get that premium, 0.67 something went off the price, but the value exploded. So a trader, they know the price of everything, but the value of nothing. One day, though, when they really stop being a trader and an investor and a financier, they start becoming a man. Because they start to realize life isn't like the stock market. That vodka that's $10.99 at Trader Joe's, when I was first offered it by this man, I didn't know what he was going through, what alcohol had done to him. It was worth $10.99 from Trader Joe's. But as I started talking to him more and more, he says he's got a wife and 2 kids. They kicked him out. And he said his first child is about to start school for the first time, and he's not taking her to school. And then he broke down into tears, and he started wailing out in incredible pain that I'd never heard anyone wail before. Now the value of that vodka, it's in the pennies. It's in the pennies. He starts talking a little more, and eventually it goes below zero. It's worthless now. By the time he offers it to me for the last time that night, I said no. he picked it up and he rolled it across the garage. And I realized that to a married man, a man who has a wife, a man who has kids, alcohol is not worth $10.99 from Trader Joe's. Just like flowers, when they're given to a woman by their fiance, it's not worth $5.50 from Safeway. That's the price. I've been thinking about that it was so important that people knew my price. And because my price was zero, it's free, they would just see the value, that I was the best. I was mad that there was that discrepancy wasn't being met. I'm the best, but I'm free. The value doesn't match the price. It made me upset. But then I started to realize I didn't know the real value of flowers. I didn't know the real value of what alcohol is to a man with a wife and kids. It's worth negative money. Negative, negative, negative. Maybe this is some young men in college might be worth some money. But I understand why people can't see the value on this new moon. First trading day of the week. Moon day. A new moon. And I'm talking about Chronos in Saturn. I said Black Monday trends during the new moon before SPY QQQ opens on Moon Day after Sunday. But don't need to worry about occultism and esoterica. Clock into a Chronos Saturn timekeeping system to pay off debt to Jesus, the sun for your sins sine wave time emitted from Saturn Satan. And I made a video about how this guy, this is what he does when the VIX spikes. He doesn't look at QDTE, XDTE, put W, S fall, the best way to sell short strangles, the best yields to buy for non-option premium dividends, which we didn't get today. Real estate was up. Damn. I'm not mad anymore. Because I'm being forced now to learn my own price and my own value. August 27th. I'm pretty sure that's exactly a week ago. I posted this graphic. Let's check it out. Let's just see what I said first, actually. Charts of the day. Goodyear Tire appears on Elite by the Blood screens. Elite, of course, means Saturn worshiper because L is Saturn. So a Levite follows the tribe of Levi, and Elite follows the tribe of L, who is Saturn. By the Blood screens with restaurants like Jack and Arco, and MMs by Strangles on Moderna. Delta leads airlines over important highs, but BA Bulls are waiting for the big one before a trade blows up in their face. And this was the graphic that was posted for that. Boeing HQ is in the Cascadia seduction zone. Its letters spell out big one. A tire explodes. Ring of fire, big one soon. Earthquake storm blamed on Planet X. You guys saw plenty of that this weekend. I don't need to get into the UFO sightings. The Boeing Starliner. The Boeing Starliner. Hello? Boeing Starliner is beeping. It's picking up noise. Wake up. Tire explodes. Ring of fire, big one soon. Earthquake storm blamed on Planet X. The Boeing Starliner now detecting the Boeing Starliner. Good Lord, people. Get your head out of your ass. Japan megaquake warning. They got the Nankai Trough megaquake warning. Massive right now. 2 members of the Mariah Carey trade family died. And then another Mariah Carey artist named Fat Man Scoop died. Scoop, like how Joe Biden likes ice cream, which is police slang for something very bad. Elites buy GTBA, Jets, XRP, and restaurant stocks because tire company Michelin rates them. 2 dead and 1 injured, Event 201 ritual. Clade X, monkeypox, Clade 1 strain. Delta variant of COVID coming as part of Disease X, fake alien invasion from planet Nibiru to explain earthquakes, pandemics, and more problems with UFOs and planes. Wow. Let's look at this one. There was a tire factory fire. Why is everyone filming every single video of this tire factory fire 1 week later? Exactly a week after this tire explodes at an airport, we have another tire fire. More rings on fire, and they're being filmed from an airport, like where Boeing Big One planes come from. Wake up! The Boeing Starliner is detecting alien noises right now. Wake up! If you are in San Francisco or Seattle, you need to pay attention to this very closely. Because the price of this information is free. The price of this information is free. I ain't charging no one anything. So you need to listen to a man named Chad Johnson. He said nothing is worth your life. Not even a Rolex. Nothing is worth your life, not even a Rolex. Like how time is up. Nothing's worth your life. That's the value of this information. If you live in Seattle where the Space Needle is, or in San Francisco where this guy got shot over a Rolex, and he went to Arizona State, the Sun Devils, and he wore number 19. In San Francisco, the value of this information is your life. If you live in San Francisco or Seattle, the price of this information is free. And if you don't live in San Francisco or Seattle, you're not going to have my alerts on, you're not going to be monitoring earthquake activity, you're not going to start thinking about, am I in a tsunami zone? What am I going to do? Because you don't live in Seattle or San Francisco. You need to listen to Elon Musk. What's that, a big plane? With a big X over it. Planet X, Planet Nibiru, a plane, a black plane like death. The big one, Boeing planes. GFY doesn't stand for go fuck yourself. It doesn't stand for that. It stands for grow food yourself or get food yourself. The value of this information on a new moon, it's a new moon today on 9/3, like how if you add up the letters of Saturn, it equals 93. The value of this information for the stock market, it's that SVOL and XDTE and put W and CRSH blended with TSLP and CONY blended with fiat. The value of this information, that can be quantified. Only Chad Johnson can tell you the value of this information as the Ring of Fire full moon eclipse, full lunar eclipse or partial lunar eclipse approaches. Only Chad Johnson can tell you the value of this information. Nothing is worth your life. And for the rest of you, outside of San Francisco and Seattle, LA, I kind of care about y'all. How far are you guys away from my area? The rest of y'all can get your popcorn ready.